Help us make sense then of this apparent contradiction, or at least the optimism now, the relative optimism now, but that concern when you project forward for the US consumer.
Well, really, when I look at the numbers, especially the present situation, it was only a tick up from where it was before, so not really much changed. I think what's more important is expectations. Expectations were down again, back into the territory where consumers indicate that they think a recession is coming. And when you look beneath the surface, consumers continue to complain about inflation being elevated, especially food and energy prices, and they're still concerned about the labor market and their personal finances ahead.
But it's not present. So this is all just like the what if scenario, like what if this happens? Is that fair to say?
Well, certainly, yeah, it is what if, but it's over the next 6 months. And we know that consumers are going to be facing some headwinds here. We have the student loan debt repayment that's going to be coming back online. Consumers are running out of that excess savings. Prices are still elevated. Wages are slowing. So is the labor market. And so when we see and we put all these things together, plus the fact that many consumers are becoming much more indebted at higher interest rates, this doesn't present a good story for the consumer. So we think that consumers are getting it right and saying, look, there's trouble ahead.
Dana, on that savings cushion then, what is your current analysis as to when that runs out for the consumer?
Probably within the next few months. I mean, look, we had roughly $2.2 trillion of excess savings. As of the second quarter, it was down to just around $173 billion. So going from trillions to billions. So they're probably going to run out of that money by the end of this year.
So I feel like the scenario that is laid out right now in your data is very much what we've all been expecting to happen for the last year. And I'm wondering what your level of confidence is that this time the consumers mean it.
Well, I think, again, what's different now versus maybe a year ago is that consumers are running out of those savings. Interest rates are much, much higher. So the cost of carrying a credit card or purchasing a home or a car, all those things are much more expensive than they used to be. And let's not forget, we're seeing gasoline prices rise yet again. And that's a core thing that consumers care about.
Dana, are consumers in the US, are they reaching for the credit card more in terms of credit card use? Higher rates for sure, but is that an option from consumers now? Is that where the push is going to kind of shore up their spending? And are you seeing a tick up in delinquencies?
Absolutely. When we look at the trend of consumer credit card use, it's back on the 2019 trend, and delinquencies are up. They're back to where they were before the pandemic. And when we look at the number of delinquencies that are 90 days or more, that's also back at the pre-pandemic level. And what's more important, or just as important, is that when we look at banks, especially banks that are not the top 100, they're seeing charge-offs rise. So that basically means they're writing off these bad loans and these credit card loans that are going sour.